friends, it's Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. For today's video, I have my week 2 budget check-in for November. We're going to be talking about everything I spent during the week. I'm going to fill in the actual column here in my monthly budget, as well as figure out what's remaining in my variable budget. So if you're interested in seeing me go in and check in for the week, just keep watching. Okay, so for the sake of time, I have already written in all of my transactions for the week. So I have everything that I used cash for written here on my little cash envelope tracker here. And then I also have whatever we spent using the cards here on an expense tracker. So I've been trying to do a lot of things in cash. Food and household, gas, my spending, my husband and my son spending, any miscellaneous. And then this is a envelope that I have where I take anything that we swipe a card for that we have cash for, and I move the cash from one envelope to the other to keep track. It didn't work out super well for us this week to use cash for all of our transactions. So you're going to see that I had some cash transactions for food, but I also had some card transactions. And I did it this way primarily because we spent more this last week in food than what we had available in cash. We had some extenuating circumstances. I'm going to talk about that. But really quickly, let's just go over where my money went. So we're tracking for the week of November 8th through the 14th. And you can see right here under my food and household category, I had a transaction for $214 at Walmart. That was for our weekly groceries. I had used cash for that. I had started out this week with $4 remaining in my grocery budget. I added $250 more, which gave me $254. I spent $214, which means there should be $40 in my cash envelope. I am going to go ahead and show you my cash envelopes this week, just because I think that's fun. So I'm going to go ahead and pull them all out of my wallet here, just for the sake of ease and expediency. So for food, it says that we should have $40 remaining in there. And in terms of what we have in cash, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, that is what we have. However, that doesn't tell the whole story because we did do some spending on a card this week. We had one of our dearest friends had a death in his family this week. We were up at the hospital with that friend, and it was him and his whole family. We really wanted to do something. We were on the ICU floor, so we ended up doing coffee and donuts just to have something for everyone to eat while they were kind of waiting on prognosis and that sort of thing. So we did do $71.88 at Tim Hortons for that. Obviously, that was not in our initial budget or plan, but that was something that we felt like we needed to do. And I don't regret that decision at all. I would do it again. And then at the end of that day, we went to dinner with those friends at a local restaurant there, and we spent $70.61. So we did not have the cash for that, so I just put it on the card. That will come out of our overall grocery and household budget. I just separated the transactions so that I would know what was cash, what was card. And then the other food transaction that we had this week on the 13th, we ended up ordering a pizza. It had been a really long day, and so that was $38.13, and that went on the card as well. So overall, for food and household, we need to track all of these transactions plus what we spent in cash. So to do that, I need my calculator. All right, and we're gonna add it up. So we had $71.88 plus $70.61 plus $38.13 plus what we spent in cash this week, which was $214. So we spent a total of $394.62 on food and household this week. I'm going to flip back here to my hybrid budget system, and that's what we're going to put in here for our variable spending. I'm kind of doing this in a different order than usual, but I wanted to talk about that right away so that I could explain why I had transactions written on two different places. So the amount we spent this week was $394.62. If we look at last week, we can see I had $1,004 remaining in my monthly budget. So our overall monthly budget is $1,250. That first week we spent $246, so we had $1,004 remaining. If I take that $1,004 and subtract the $394.62 that we spent, we have $609.38 remaining. So if I look at the month overall, that's what we have left at the end of week 2, but we still have 3 more weeks to get through to buy groceries. So if I take that $609.38 and divide it by 3, that means we have approximately $203 per week, which is still, I think, completely reasonable. So when I do my cash stuffing, which I'll do at the end of this video, I will take that into account, and I will stuff a little bit less than I have been stuffing. I started out the month kind of stuffing $250 each week, but we've now exceeded our kind of allotted spending with those unexpected things, so we're gonna have to just adjust things a little bit, which is fine. So that's food and household. If we flip back here though to my transactions, the only other thing we put on a card was our gas bill. That was $67. That is under bills. I'm not going to go in and highlight these today because there's just those few transactions. There's no sense. But I am going to really quickly go ahead and put that in. That's the only bill that was due this week. We budgeted $67. We spent $67. So that went as planned. So then the only other thing we have to account for then is the rest of our variable spending. So our gas, my spending, my husband's spending, Austin's spending, miscellaneous, and anything unbudgeted. Now, we technically could have put those transactions, that Tim Hortons and that dinner, in an unbudgeted category. We could have counted that as miscellaneous. I don't get too wrapped up in semantics. I could have easily pulled money from any of our sinking funds. I don't know, I don't want to call it celebration, but we could have used that sinking fund for that. It doesn't matter. As long as I account for what we spent, I'm happy I accounted for it there in food and household, so that's fine. We still should have plenty of money to get us through the rest of the month. Hopefully, we won't have any more situations like that, emergencies, things that come up unexpectedly. But that's part of life, right? Like, I'm not going to beat myself up over being there for my friend when he was grieving, and yeah, I don't regret that at all. So that's that. For gas, we still didn't have to put gas in our car. We are in the time of year now where I become a complete hermit. It's freezing cold and snowing outside. I'm done doing a ton of driving. My son Austin is not in very many activities or anything anymore, so the amount of gas that we need has drastically gone down. So we didn't need to fill up. We spent nothing. And so we still have the full $300. No, we don't, because we spent gas last week. We still have the full $264 in there that we had at the end of last week. It's really, really good. I don't think we're going to have any trouble sticking to our gas budget overall. when I did my cash stuffing, I was stuffing $60 each time. So at the end of last week, we had $24. I stuffed 60 more. We didn't spend any of it, so there should be $84 in cash here. I hope I'm not confusing you with our overall budget versus what we have in cash. I just like to have the cash because I find it easier to stick to my budget when it's in cash. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. We're just going to keep right on keeping on with the status quo and add another $60 this week. But again, we'll do that at the end. But the cash is where it should be. We're right on track, even better than on track with our gas budget, so that's awesome. For my spending, I give myself $40 each week. As you can see here at the start of last week, I gave myself $40. I did have one transaction through Stitch Fix. I bought a pair of earrings. They were $19. That left me with $21 in cash, which is here in my envelope. But it left me with an overall budget for the month remaining of, let's see, 19 here is what I spent. 40. I started the month with $200. I had $160 left at the beginning of last week. $160 minus 19. I still have $141 remaining in my monthly spending budget. So we're on track there. For my husband and Austin, I do their spending in cash, and I give them the cash and I count it as spent. So for Austin, I actually gave him his full monthly allowance all at the start of the month. So it's already accounted for. He didn't spend anything. He doesn't have anything left. What he actually has in his possession is irrelevant. What I have left in my budget is nothing. I've given him all of the money I intended to give him. For my husband, he had $240 remaining last week. I gave him $60 this week. And so he's got $180 remaining that he can spend throughout the rest of the month. For miscellaneous, if I look here at my miscellaneous envelope, when we checked in last, I had $80 in my envelope. We had a couple of transactions. So on the day that we went to the hospital, we stopped at Circle K. My husband purchased a couple of packs of cigarettes. Typically that's something that he uses his spending money for, but in our rush to get to the hospital and all that, he just put it on a card, so I counted it as miscellaneous, and that was $13, which left us with $67. And then while we were at the hospital, we were using the vending machine, the cafeteria, that sort of thing, and the cash that I had on hand to use was in our miscellaneous envelope, so we spent another $22 just like at the vending machine buying sodas for people and whatever else. So we started with 80. The amount we spent, 13 plus 22. We spent $35 this week. So that should leave $45 in cash. $20.45. And again, the cash is just because it helps me stick to my budget more. Whether it's in cash or in the bank, our overall monthly budget is the same, so I don't count it as spent if I still have the cash on hand, right? But hopefully that's not confusing. Regardless, we had $200 at the start of last week. We spent $35 this week. That leaves us with $165 remaining in our monthly budget for miscellaneous, and then for unbudgeted, we had nothing. So we're still really good to go. We are on track. Even though we spent more than I wanted to this week in food and household with those kind of unexpected things. I've been trying really hard to stick to just like $250 a week. Obviously, we spent more than that this past week, but I think we're still going to be okay overall for the month as long as we stick to the status quo, nothing else comes up. So I'm pretty happy with where we're sitting right now. In terms of bills, we've got a couple of bills that are due to come out this next week. We have, you know, typical grocery shopping. I'm definitely gonna need to put gas in my car this week. So, yeah, I think we're overall okay. In terms of debt payments, nothing came out this past week, but this upcoming week, I'll have to make my car payment, so that'll get taken care of. I still do need to fill out the savings amount with what I put into my cash envelopes, but I don't have that information like here in front of me right now, so I'll fill this in off camera. But you saw me stuff my envelopes for the 50 envelope challenge at the beginning of the month. So if you're interested in knowing what that amount was and you missed that video, go check it out. Yeah, that's my check-in. I'm pretty satisfied with where we are. So the only thing left to do then is to stuff my cash envelopes for the week, because like I said, having cash has really been a good motivation for me to stick to my budget. I've done really well with using the cash that I have on hand, except for those couple of, you know, things that came up with being at the hospital and whatnot. So I'm going to continue with the cash, and at the end of the month, if we have anything left in any of our cash envelopes, I think I'm going to use that to make an extra debt payment. That's the plan. So because we have $609.38 remaining in our food budget, and we have 3 weeks left, we said that we had approximately $203-ish for the next 3 weeks. I'm going to take $200 then and stuff my cash envelope, but I already have some cash in there. I want a total of $200, so 200 minus 40, I'm actually going to stuff $160 this week into food. So I have, let's see what I have in cash. I've got a bunch of cash that I need to deposit in the bank from sinking funds and other places that I've pulled it from that needs to be deposited in the bank. Rather than take this and deposit it into the bank and then turn around and pull cash from the bank, I'm just gonna stuff my envelopes using this cash. So for food, I need 160. So I have 100, 50, 55, 60. So let's just make sure overall that this is 200. And I haven't done anything wrong here. Lots of 5s. Okay, so we have 100, 50, 60, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 200. So I'm going to try to stick to $200 this week. We'll see if I succeed. Like I said, using cash and going in person to the grocery store, I feel like has really kept me on track with my food budget, so I'm happy there. I do want to go ahead and fill in, I already stuck it back in the bag because I thought we were done with it, but I am not. So pull this back out and go ahead and write in what we stuffed. So today is, what is today? The 15th. For the cash stuffing, we added 160 for a total of 200. Okay, so that's that. For gas, I'm going to do the usual $60. So 84 plus 60 should give us a total of $144. So let me just find my gas envelope here. And for this, we're going to add $60. Hopefully I have the right change. I got a lot of hundreds, so what did I say it would give us? 144. So I'm going to take this cash that I had in here out, the $84, and I'm going to replace it with 100, and then 20, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. And that'll give me the proper amount that I have for gas this week. It's definitely not going to cost me $144 to fill my gas tank, so we are really doing well with our gas budget so far this month. Next we have my spending. I should have $21 in there. We're going to cash stuff. Another 40, which should give me 61. So I do have 21. We're going to add 40 more to give me 61. 20, 40, 61. That's my spending. And then lastly, oh, I need my husband's spending money, and he's going to get 60. So we're going to cash stuff 60 for a total of 60. I will immediately turn around and pull this right back out and give it to him, but for now we'll go ahead and stuff 50, 55, 60 into this spending envelope, which is starting out empty because I gave him his money last week. And then lastly we have miscellaneous starting out with 45. We're going to go ahead and cash stuff another 40, which will give us a total of 85. Do I have two 20s? I do not. So I'm going to take a 50, 60, 70, 80, 85, and I'll put this 20 back here. So just make sure we have what we need: 50, 70, 75, 80, 85. And the rest of that cash in the stack will go into the bank for that deposit I needed to make. And the only envelope I have left is my credit card envelope then, which I will use if, for example, I swipe a card for food and household and I have the cash to cover it. I'll move the cash from here into the credit card envelope to cover that transaction. So that is my cash envelopes stuffed and my weekly check-in complete. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. That really helps out my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. I post new budgeting and lifestyle content here on my channel every single week. I'd love to have you come back, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!